everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Thank you for joining me. And today I've got something quite exciting that I want to have a talk to you about. Something that's coming up next year, so that's 2022. Scary that that's only just over a month away. What happened to this year? I don't know. Anyway, next year, slight change of tack, slight change of direction. Not going to impact Oakbound as a whole, just another string to the bow, if you like, because next year we're going to do a Patreon. Now, this is something that I've hummed and hawed about for a long time. I signed up to Patreon maybe 5 or 6 years ago with an idea of running something, but every time that I came to it, I kept sort of thinking, well, you've got some very good sculptors who are on Patreon doing some very good sculpting tutorials, and I don't think that I can do anything that will come anything close to what they're doing, so I won't do that. Likewise with painters. So I was trying to think, what can I do? What can I offer to Patreon supporters? That will create hopefully some interest, some useful content, something to be worth that little bit of money every month. Because I'm very into physical things, I didn't want to do a purely sort of online virtual Patreon. I wanted there to be something tangible there as well. So I have been watching and backing a few people on Patreon over the last year or so, just to try and get an idea of what people are doing that works, that doesn't work, and the sort of level of input that is feasible, because my time is quite short, certainly at the moment. So I don't have weeks to put together something every month for Patreon backers. So I wanted to try and get the level right, and I think I've come up with something that I'm going to try next year, and I'm going to hope that it works, and it will roll on to future years after that. So what I've come up with is a year-long plan. So this will start in January and will run to December next year, and then we'll start something else in January the year after and run to December. And what I want to do is a Patreon exclusive warband. Now at the moment we're looking at For the Woods, but there's nothing to say that with a re-release of Factious Waste in the coming year, we won't then be looking at potentially Factious Wasty warbands in the future. But at the moment we're looking at a Woods warband. And if you are a member of the Woods Facebook group, the Woods Worldwide Players Circle on Facebook, you'll know that we've been polling for what would be a popular first warband to go for. So it's not too late, you can still jump on there and cast your say and vote for the first Patreon exclusive warband that we produce. And that's a warband of, let's say, nominally 8 to a dozen figures. I'm going to aim around a dozen models that will be cast up and will be in a nice presentation box, and will have a nice quality print of the concept art that goes with those figures. And so for everyone who backs in at a level of £5 a month, January through to December, and if you join part way through, there'll be ways of upping your pledge in order to get to that point. But £5 a month from January through to December. By the time it comes to Christmas next year, Christmas 2022, you'll hopefully be receiving your warband. Now, to go alongside that, I'm going to do a monthly report on Patreon of the process going from concept to finished article. So we're going to be looking at the concept to start off with. We're going to be looking at sort of the research behind it, the ideas that are going into it. Then we're going to commission a particular concept artist. We're going to look at the choice of concept artist. Then we're going to get the work from the concept artist, and we'll talk to them and get the way that they've approached the subject. And then we will look at taking that concept art and putting that into sculpted physical miniature form. And then we'll look at taking those miniatures and casting, and then we'll look at taking those casts and painting them, and then we'll look at that painted warband and we'll get it on the table and we'll play some games with it and sort of talk about the usage of it. So you'll get a full monthly account of getting that from concept through to realization on the tabletop. And that'll be in the form of videos, but also be in the forms of articles with lots of photographs, lots of visual content. So hopefully that will be something that there aren't that many people doing, documenting that process of having an idea, researching the idea, and then getting it to the point of realization, to actually out onto the tabletop. But you'll get a physical side to it as well. I'm also going to be doing quarterly live Q&As, so you shall see how that works. I've only done one previously. I did one instead of Salute 2020. We did a live online Q&A, and I think it went pretty well, but it's a weird experience sat in front of a laptop with a camera on you, sort of talking to space and trying to keep an eye on the feed. So hopefully I'll get better at that, but it did work, so that's looking good for the future. So yeah, quarterly chance for patrons to jump in and ask any questions they like about either about the process or about running the company, or about me, or about the world in which we live, or anything you like, any Q&A, and we can have a bit of a chat about that on a quarterly basis. Yeah, so there you go. There will be the option if you don't want the warband, you just want to have a look at the content as it rolls out. There will be no minimum pledge. So you can pledge £1 a month, and you'll still be able to see the process of getting stuff from concept to tabletop. But yeah, if you want to have the exclusive warband, which will not be available separately. It will only be available and sent out to Patreon backers that year. If you would like that warband, then it's £5 a month, so that's going to end up being 60 quid for the warband in the presentation box with the concept artwork print with it. And it will all be a totally legal warband, for starter warband for playing either the Woods, or when we get to it, Factious Waste, or possibly something else in the future. Who knows what else we might decide. So if you want to have a say on what that first warband is, jump in our the Woods Worldwide Players Circle on Facebook, and there's a poll for you to decide. There's 4 options. You can pick which one you'd like to see as the first warband, and I'll get cracking on that this side of Christmas, so that by the time we get to January we're ready to roll with the first bits of content, which is very exciting. If you haven't already signed up to our newsletter on the website, oakbound.co.uk/news, news for how to join the Patreon will be coming out in the December issue, so the first Friday in December. That will be out there, and there'll be a link to how you can sign up to the Patreon. But we are live on there now, so if you want to go over there and follow us, feel free to. In fact, I think if you pledge in December, if you find Oakbound and you pledge in December, I don't think they'll take any payment until January, so you can start pledging early if you like to. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what I'm going to be sculpting. I'm looking forward to picking a concept artist and finding out what their take on it is going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great chance to do some quirky, perhaps some slightly out there, some slightly unique sculpts, and play with things that are not necessarily a commercial viability, but there'll be a fun thing to play with as a Patreon exclusive. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. do go and look for that, check that out, and I will see you next week for another, I think it's time for another Decades of Dwarf next weekend, or next week, so I will see you with that then. In the meantime, take care, and do join us on Facebook for the debate.